What's up, you guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Fit Women's Weekly Podcast, coming at you from my studio. In fact, I am recording this on Valentine's Day, though obviously this will be coming out after Valentine's Day. But if you celebrated, I hope that you had a lovely day. Valentine's Day really isn't a big thing in our house. We typically don't celebrate it at all, except to say, hi, good morning, I love you, happy Valentine's Day. But if you celebrate it, good on ya. I'd love to hear, what did you do? What is your favorite way to show love? Are you someone, is it quality time? Is it gifts? Fill me in. Just drop into my DMs over on Instagram, Kendall Boyle Fitness. I did have some fun with my makeup today because I was like, I am gonna feel a little bit festive. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that I'm gonna be doing for Valentine's Day is playing around with my makeup. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. Other thing, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you guys can see my hair. Yes, my hair is a mess. I had the same straightener for, oh my gosh, probably since I was 20. So the thing is pushing 20 years old and it finally died. So I can't straighten my hair right now. And I did not realize how important that was until I had to start obviously getting ready to do things. So if you have a good suggestion for a hair straightener that is not $400, I am not, you guys, I'm not the type of girl that's gonna spend a ton of money on like a Dyson hair dryer or straightener or curling stick or anything like that. So I'm looking for something under $100. If you have a good one that you recommend, let me know. I had the really fat one before that was like a 3-incher in thickness, but I think I want the smaller one nowadays so that I can curl my hair. So just FYI, if you have a good suggestion, let me know. And then once I get one, I'll let you guys in on how it does and give a full review if that is something that you're interested in. I guess that's a good question for those of you guys listening. I always really stick to either my life or fitness and nutrition, and I don't really talk about, I don't know, lifestyle very often as far as makeup or clothes or hair is concerned. If that is something that you want me to cover more in podcast episodes, let me know. Specifically, like ask your questions, because the more specific you are in what you want to hear or what questions you have, obviously the easier it is for me to give you exactly what you're looking for. So if you have a question about makeup, hair, any of those things, again, drop into my DMs or shoot me an email, kendall@fitwomensweekly.com. I always have to think about it because I know, like all of us, I have 5 different emails and I'm going, okay, what business is this? Which one do I want to direct people to? It is kendall@fitwomensweekly.com. All right, guys, let's jump into the main topics, and then we are going to have a little bit of extra stuff to talk about at the end. One person has requested, see, I'm not going to say I hear all the time. Somebody requested that I get back into sharing a workout of the week, where I would always share one of the workouts that we were doing in Fit Women's Weekly Live or a workout challenge that I did by myself. And I haven't done that in a long time. And I was like, yeah, I forgot about that. So at the end of today's podcast, I will share a workout challenge with you guys. And if you're up for it, do it and let me know how it goes. So today we're going to be talking about, I say 5 tips, but you always know I throw an extra, so I might as well change the title already to be 6 tips to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. First off, is it even possible? Is it possible to burn fat and build muscle simultaneously? And the question comes because you always hear people either going into a bulking phase when they want to add muscle, which means that they're going to go increasing their caloric intake every single day, right? They're going to go into a caloric surplus to help their body build muscle mass. And during that process, because you're in a surplus, the body doesn't just say, oh, thank you for these calories, I'm going to use it just to build muscle. You are going to add on a little bit of body fat with it. Even with the best training. That's just kind of what happens. Your body can't say, I'm gonna use 100% of these extra calories to build muscle mass. And then on the other side, you hear people going through a caloric deficit in order to lean out, right? In order to cut their calories, they're gonna burn body fat, but simultaneously, a lot of times you're also gonna burn a little bit of muscle mass at the same time. So is it possible to do a little bit of both simultaneously? And the answer is yes, and I'm gonna cover the tips in order to help you do that. But I do want to preface it by saying that it's a lot easier for people that are undertrained or just new getting into fitness than it is for someone who has been training for a really long time. Our bodies are already adapted to exercise. You really have to kind of change things up in order to go into that body composition and really make sure that you're focusing on diet. But don't worry, I have you covered. I'm going to talk about the 6 things that you need to really focus on if that is your goal. So it's not to say that trained women can't change their body composition. It just really makes it more important to follow these rules. Cool? But if you are listening to this podcast and you're like, man, I listened to this podcast for motivation, but I'm not quite ready to start my fitness journey, then I have some really good news for you. Because you are new to starting your journey, once you get started, and go ahead, get started, stop pushing it off. There's nothing scary about getting started because, for one thing, everybody can get fit, right? Everybody has that ability in some way, shape, or form. But also going from untrained to doing new things with your body, you're gonna see good results. You're gonna see faster results than people who have consistently been training. For me to get stronger and to visibly see results takes more because I gotta push myself way further outside of my comfort zone when I do that already on a regular basis. I've gotta make more drastic changes to my nutrition because I already eat clean, right? I have to make more dramatic changes to my workouts to challenge myself in new ways. So just a little food for thought, but let's go ahead and jump into these 6 tips. Tip number 1 is to increase your protein. And I know you guys are like, oh my God, everybody always talks about protein. I'm so tired about listening about increasing your protein. Well, repetition is key to success. And if you want to not only maintain your muscle mass, but add muscle and increase your strength and burn body fat, then making your protein a priority in your day is super vital. This is not something that trainers just say just to say it. We say it because there's science that backs it up. So in order to tell your body, I need to keep my muscle, I want you to get rid of my body fat, you have to make sure that you're giving your body the building blocks for that to happen, and that is protein. So specifically, you do want to up it a little bit more than you normally would during a composition change. So you want to take it into about 0.9 to 1.1 grams of protein per pound that you weigh. So I always use the excuse of 100 pounds, even though I know 99% of the world does not weigh 100 pounds. But if you were to weigh 90 pounds, you would take in anywhere from 90 grams of protein to 110 grams of protein. And yes, it could be really tough to do, which just go back about 2 podcast episodes ago, I gave 5 tips to easily increase your protein intake. It doesn't take a lot of work, it does take a little bit of planning, and it does take consistent effort, as in not like hard effort, just you can't increase your protein on a Monday and then decrease it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then increase it Friday, expecting that it all balances out. You do want to make sure that you're hitting those goals every day, especially on your strength training days, but also especially on your recovery days, because you guys know when it comes to strength training, and we're going to talk about this more in just a second, your body recovers not just right after the workout is done, but for up to 48 hours after. So you need to make sure that your protein intake isn't just high on your workout days. Cool? Tip number 2, focus on being either in a slight caloric deficit or in maintenance, depending on your training history and your weekly fitness. So this is why tracking is really important. I know a lot of people don't want to track, but if you have a specific goal, how do you know if you're working towards hitting that goal without having some kind of plan aligned in order to hit that goal, right? So if you're not tracking and you don't know if you're in maintenance mode, you don't know if you're in a caloric deficit, then how are you expecting to get the results that you want to get? And so I do recommend tracking if you are specifically aiming for body composition goals, weight loss, or even if you're in a bulk. Basically, if you are in a maintenance stage and you are happy in life right now, then don't track, right? But if you have specific goals in order to change your body, you do need to have data. You need to collect yourself. And by tracking, it helps to hold you accountable because you know what you're supposed to do each day, and it really puts it out in front of you. And so if you're trying to burn body fat, you do want to be either in a slight caloric deficit, or you can be at your maintenance level and increasing your daily expenditure of movement, whether you are going on more walks per day or you are lifting heavier, you're doing a new training program. Obviously, that's going to burn more calories and help in your daily expenditure of your metabolic health, right? So if you're gonna be in a slight caloric deficit, which is gonna be for most people that are currently already training actively, again, if you're brand new to fitness, brand new to strength training, you could probably stay in a maintenance zone and see some amazing results. If you've been training for a while and you're like, no, I really want to lean out a little bit more, then you're probably gonna wanna be in a caloric deficit, but you don't wanna drop down too much, right? Because you want to be able to still put your body in an anabolic state where it can build muscle. So just a slight deficit of about 10 to 15% with your calories should be really, really good. And this isn't a blanket statement for everybody. Some people can even go into a caloric increase and see amazing results. But for most of us, like myself included, if I wanted to lean out a little bit, I would go into a slight deficit. Nothing crazy, 10 to 15% per day. Number 3, another one we talk about, you guys have heard me say, probably, out of, let's say 8 podcasts a month, at least 4. So at least half the podcasts, this word gets tossed out there. Lift progressively harder, progressive overload. And again, you hear trainers say it over and over again. It's not because we just like that word. We say it because it is proven to be true. It is proven to be necessary. Increase your training volume from week to week. Make your workouts a little bit harder. Now, I'm gonna give a really good example of something I'm going through right now, but here's what I wanna stress. That doesn't mean that you have to lift heavier weights every single workout. So if you lift 10 weights today or 10 pounds today, you don't have to lift the 15 pounds tomorrow and then the 20 pounds the next week. Eventually, you're likely going to run out of weights with that, or especially if you're working out at home. First off, you should be trying Fit Women's Weekly Live if you work out at home. But also, if you work out at home, you probably don't have a slew of weights like I have here at my gym, where I have weights from 5 pounds all the way up to 70 pounds, right? So you wanna make sure that you're still being able to progressively make your workouts harder without necessarily having to lift heavier each time. And here's how to do that. So first off, you wanna calculate your total volume from each workout and then try to aim to increase that from workout to workout. Or, shameless plug again, work out with somebody like me over at Fit Women's Weekly Live who does that for you. And then I say, here's what we're doing. So for example, I'm doing an overhead press program right now for 8 weeks. We are in week 6. And last week we did a 7x7 program, which I think it was at like 75% of our 1 rep max or something like that. So altogether that's 49 reps, right? 7 sets of 7 reps. 7 times 7 is 49. And I did those strict presses with 65 pounds. So then I'm gonna take that 49, multiply it by 65, and that comes out to 3,185 pounds of total volume. And so if I wanna make it progressively harder on myself, I need to go up from that number the following week or the following 2 weeks, depending on how tough that is for you to hit. But you progressively want to make it harder. So because we are in week 6, and we're gonna talk about this here in a second as well, I wanted to decrease the actual weight that we are using, just to kind of mentally give ourselves that break of going like, okay, we're not going heavier today. It makes it a little bit easier, but we're not making it easier because instead of doing a 7x7, last night I did a 10x10. Yeah, that is high volume. It's called German high volume training. Very tough. Because you are going at lighter weights, you can also keep the rest a little bit shorter between the sets. So it gets tough, but we were only doing at 50% of our 1 rep max. So in our head, we're like, okay, this is lighter, right? So we did 100 reps total, and then 50% of my 1 rep max was 45 pounds. So now I'm doing 45 times 100, which is 4,500 pounds of volume. So just a reminder, last week was 3,185. This week is 4,500. Progressive overload. Without having to change your weights to go heavier, we actually went lighter, but we still put our muscles under a lot of strain that will make them go, oh my gosh, I need to prepare if we ever do this again. I gotta get stronger, I gotta get a little bit bigger. And that's what we're aiming for. So that's what you wanna focus for. If you have not changed your training program up in a long time, it is time to do that. Tip number 4, include 2 to 3 days of cardio into your fitness. I know, y'all, that there are camps that say, I am all about strength training. When I do let's say a 10 by 10, that is my cardio. And then there are the people that are the cardio people that are like, I just add 5 to 10 minutes of strength training in order to help me be a healthier runner. But if you're trying to do body composition changes, we're not really talking so much about the diehard cardio people here, the big runners, because that's what they do. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not really the camp we're going through for today's chit chat. We're going more for the people that are like, when I do a 10 by 10, that's cardio day. They're really like, I want to strength train, I want to get stronger. But having some cardio workouts in there on your off days can really help, obviously, to increase your caloric burn, which burn more calories than you take in, you're going to lose weight. And it does also help with fat burn, especially if you're doing more HIIT style training. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of evidence that supports this. I found one where it is, let's see, I have it here in front of me. Where did it go? For their study, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I did find some evidence that if you, so Justin Roethlisberger something. He is the strength and conditioning coach for the San Diego Gulls of a hockey league, and he puts his athletes through HIIT training multiple times a week because he has seen that when you're doing HIIT training with a good strength training program, you're not going to lose your strength in the process, and you're also keeping your cardio to a shorter period of time. So you're still burning fat, but you're not putting so much demand on your system as if you're going out and doing 90-minute steady state training programs. I know that there's this idea of like, if I do steady state cardio with strength, the steady state is going to eat my muscle. And that's not entirely true at all, especially if you do that steady state on the off days. But I'm just throwing it out there that HIIT is a little bit more beneficial because it's more friendly on our time. You can spend more time on the strength training, which should be the priority, and less time on your cardio. Unless you're like me and you just love getting out there and running. I do actually do long steady state runs 3 days a week, and I freaking love it. But I make it a few hours before my strength training programs so that it doesn't affect it too much. You can do your strength training on the same day, and initially there's evidence that suggests that it does not affect your strength. So meaning that you can do your cardio, you can get the cardio VO2 benefits from it, you can increase your strength simultaneously, but over time, if you continue to do concurrent training where you're doing them back to back, then eventually your strength gains will start to decrease. So I do want to put that out there, but initially it's great, especially if you're just doing this as like anytime you're in a deficit, it should be a short-term thing. So if you're just doing it for like a 6 to 8 week period, because you want to be in a deficit for the smallest amount of time possible, then doing both is fine. But I'm a huge believer in concurrent training, meaning doing cardio during strength training, because yes, strength training is so vital for your muscle mass, for your bone density, for your power output, but cardiovascular workouts are also so important for your cardiovascular health, for your overall endurance. You shouldn't get tired walking around town. And I've seen a lot of people, I have several friends who are so focused on strength training that they can't go run a mile. And I think that that is something that if you are physically capable of doing, meaning like there's no injuries, you have no knee problems, no leg issues, that's something that most humans should be able to go and do, is to be able to run 1 mile. So I think it's important to make sure to put in both. But especially when you are trying to change your body composition, adding in whether HIIT training or some sort of steady state cardio on your off days is very, very beneficial. Number 5, give yourself optimal rest. You can't build on zero, right? Your body needs time to recover, it needs time to rest and repair, and that is when you get to show off your hard work. I am always reminded that you do not see results during a workout, right? It is, except for obviously if you get a good muscle pump and you're a little bit swole, but eventually that blood flow is going to decrease out of the muscle and it's going to go back to normal. So it's not as if during a workout you do 10 reps of a bicep curl and you literally see your muscles growing, right? It takes time, it takes effort. And so you have to make sure that you're giving your body time to rest and recover, not only to build muscle, but also to get rid of the inflammation, and so that it's ready to come back strong during your next training session. And that's why why people always say you want to make sure that you're resting between working the same muscle groups. Don't do leg day on Monday and then Tuesday and then Wednesday. You want to do leg day on Monday, on Wednesday, on Friday, or maybe even on like a Monday, a Thursday, and a Saturday. And you really only need to do it 2 times a week if you're going to do some kind of split routine like that. If you are going to do full body workouts like I do several times, you want to make sure that those are separated as well, which makes it a lot easier to then be able to put in your HIIT training or your cardio in between the days. So give yourself rest, make sleep a priority, get yourself rested, hydrate, eat your protein, get your massage on. Make sure you guys know I'm big on myofascial release. I have a lot of podcasts on foam rolling. Check those out if you need more information on it. But the long and the short of it is, if you don't let your body recover, if you push it too hard and demand too much out of it, it's never going to be able to build. You are running on empty. So this is your PSA. I was like PSI, wait, no, that's the air in my tires. Your PSA that it's okay to take rest days. Everybody should take at least 1 rest day per week. And then bonus number 6, like you guys said, I always sit down and I go, I'm gonna come up with 5 tips. And then I always come up with 1 extra in everything that we do. And bonus tip number 6 is think about including deload weeks. Again, research has showed that when you're using high intensity strength training, like the kind of strength training that I do here at Fit Women's Weekly Live, where you're really pushing it, your heart rate is going high, you're lifting heavy weights, you're moving your big body movements, you're doing big compound exercises, then think about doing it for just a few weeks. We're talking about 5 to 6 weeks, and then cutting back the intensity for a week. It doesn't mean taking a week off. It just means maybe focusing more on body weight movements, focusing more on form or learning new exercises, cutting back your weight for a week to give yourself that extra recovery time. And then after that week of deload, you start back into your program of going progressively harder. So you push really, really hard, and then you cut back, you don't progress, you don't do a progressive overload for a week, and then you get right back to it. It's kind of the same thing with nutrition, right? When you're in a caloric deficit, you've heard probably that you should be in a caloric deficit from 8 to 12 weeks. And then after that time, give yourself a week of either maintenance or even in a little bit of a caloric surplus to just kind of let your body go like, this feels really good, before you go back into a deficit again. So same thing with exercise. Our body can be pushed really hard for a while, but then it needs some TLC. It needs to breathe for a little bit. And so here at Fit Women's Weekly Live, when we do 8-week training plans like we're doing right now, we'll push really hard for the 8 weeks. And then at week 9, we always do a deload week before we go back into another training plan starting at week 10, which would then be obviously week 1. So those are your 6 rules. I know that I've talked about Fit Women's Weekly Live a lot here, but they really do follow a lot of these rules in order to help you, in order to help me, because these are the workouts that I do for my own personal gains as well to get the results that we want. So if you're tired of trying whatever it is that you're trying and you're not seeing the results that you want to see, then just give Fit Women's Weekly Live a shot. You guys, I go live 3 times every single day. I go live with 2 workouts, one 60-minute, one 30-minute, of whatever theme it is for the day. We do have an actual training plan. And then I do a live strength program as well. So for this 8 weeks, we're doing deadlifts and overhead presses. And we alternate between the 2 of those. It's free to try. You get to try it for 14 days. Hang out with me, do the workout live, or don't. I record every single workout. You can hit play, but you can still ask questions. That's probably my favorite part about Fit Women's Weekly is like, not only do I do the workouts live, but I make myself available to all of the clients there. So if you have a question during the workout, you're not quite sure how to do something, or you need a modification, I'm right there. I help you every step of the way. So it's not just a screen name, you are actually one of my clients. And we do that because we keep Fit Women's Weekly Live membership so small, so tight. It's a really amazing community. And I hope that you at least give it a shot. And I'll make sure to link it down in the show notes if that is something that you're interested in. And then the final little piece of news before I skedaddle for the day is we are launching a brand new newsletter. Hopefully, actually, by the time this episode goes live. But if not, it'll definitely be out by the end of the week. It's going to be called the Fit Finisher Newsletter. You'll get 3 issues every single week. One being a free 5-minute workout, as well as a blog post that recaps it. It talks about the modifications. It talks about workout coaching to make it through that workout. On Wednesdays, you're gonna get a recap of the podcast, so it'll link it up to the podcast, but if you can't watch this entire 30 to 45 minute podcast episode, no big deal. I'll give a quick synopsis so that you just read it in less than 90 seconds. You can get on with your day, still having picked up on the nuggets that I want you to take from these episodes. And then on Friday is gonna be my favorite day because I'll be able to recap any blog posts that we published up on fitwomensweekly.com, as well as sharing my favorites, whether that is food or leggings or makeup or techie things in the fitness and nutrition world, or even just fitness news going on in the world right now that has been released. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the real information. For years, people have always told me that I'm so real, I'm the real trainer, and I just want to make sure that I'm spreading the news that you guys need, the information that you need to actually get the results that you want. Not the crap that's floating around out there. I don't believe in hype and fads. So that newsletter will be out soon. As soon as it is, I will let you guys know, and you can sign up for the Fit Finisher newsletter. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Make sure to subscribe, leave your review for the podcast. If you are listening to this on iTunes or anything that allows you to leave a review, do that. If you're listening or watching this on YouTube, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really does help a lot. All right, guys, and if you have a question or a topic you want covered, let me know. All right, my workout of the week, I almost forgot. Hopefully you guys are still here and you haven't peaced out yet. All right, here's the workout for the week. I did this workout last week. It is a burner of a workout. It is definitely HIIT style. Not even HIIT style, we'll just call it a Metcon, because this HIIT means high intensity interval training, which would lead you to believe you're gonna work and then you're gonna rest. No, there is no rest in this workout. It is 10 rounds of 100 step-ups on a 16-inch box. So it's 100 step-ups into 10 lateral side-to-side lunges with a 35-pound weight into 5 prisoner squats. Now, if you don't know what any of these moves are, I have posted this up on my Instagram or in my YouTube stories, so you can check that out. So just to say it again, 10 rounds, 100 step-ups, 10 side-to-side lunges, aka lateral lunges, and 5 prisoner squats. It is a burner. You're gonna get sweaty. Your legs are gonna get a pump for sure. And it was just a really fun mental and physical challenge. So give it a go, and if you do, let me know. Better yet, take a picture or a video, post it, and tag me in it. All right, you guys, now we're gonna call it a day. Go have yourself an amazing day. Bye. Thank you so much.